According to the US Surgeon General, we're living in a loneliness epidemic. 1 in 4 adults say they feel completely alone. But you did something different. You looked at your phone, saw their name, and decided, not today, not anymore. And here's what nobody talks about. You don't feel lonely. You don't feel broken. If anything, you've never felt more at peace. So what changed? When did you become the kind of person who walks away and doesn't look back? Because you weren't always like this. There was a version of you who stayed. You were the reliable one. The one people called at 2 a.m. You were the friend who listened, the one who gave advice, the one who held everything together when everyone else was falling apart. You were the emotional support system for people who never asked how you were doing. You were the one who picked up every call, replied to every message, showed up every single time, and they knew it. So they came back again and again and again. Same problems, same patterns, same empty promises. And you stayed until one day something small happened. You didn't pick up the phone. And here's the strange part. Nothing happened. The world didn't collapse. The crisis solved itself. The noise disappeared. And for the first time in a long time, it was quiet. Not awkward quiet. Not lonely quiet. Peaceful quiet. And that moment, that wasn't weakness. That was your brain doing exactly what it was designed to do. Psychologists have a name for this. It's called the Polyvagal theory, developed by Dr. Stephen Porges. But don't worry about the terminology. Here's what it actually means. Your nervous system has different modes, one for connection, one for danger, and one for protection. And when you've been drained too many times, when you've given more than you've ever received, when people take your energy like it's unlimited, your brain doesn't ask for permission. It flips a switch. You move from connection mode into shutdown, withdrawal, silence, distance. Not because you're broken, but because your system is trying to protect you. Because your energy, it's not infinite. And your brain knows that, even if you didn't. But here's the deeper question. Where did your brain learn that people could be a threat in the first place? For a lot of people, it didn't start in adulthood. It started early. Maybe you grew up reading The Room before you could even read books. You could feel tension before anyone said a word. You learned that someone's mood could change the entire atmosphere of your home. So you adapted. You became hyper-aware, careful, attuned. Psychologist Murray Bowen called this emotional cutoff. It's what happens when closeness starts to feel unsafe. When love comes with unpredictability, when connection has a cost. So your younger self made a decision. Distance feels safer. And now, as an adult, that same pattern shows up every time someone gets too close. Not because something is wrong with you, but because something once was. But here's where things get complicated. Because not all distance is healthy. There's a difference between protecting your peace and building walls that keep everyone out. And most people confuse the two. Walls block everything. The good, the bad, the uncertain. They're built from fear. Boundaries? They're different. They're selective, intentional, aware. And here's a simple way to tell the difference. If you walked away from someone and felt relief, that's information. If you walked away and felt peace, that's not isolation. That's protection. Because the real question isn't, should I let people in? It's who actually deserves access to me. And if you're being honest, you already know. Because people like you, you don't cut others off randomly. You notice patterns. That friend who only calls when they need something. You saw it early. That person who compliments you but somehow makes you feel smaller. You felt it. That cycle of intensity, then distance, then return, you recognized it before it even finished. There's research backing this up. Studies show that people who've experienced early emotional stress develop heightened activity in the brain's threat detection system. In simple terms, you got really good at reading people. You're not too sensitive. You're trained. You're not overthinking. You're processing more data than most people even notice. That feeling you get when something is off, that's not insecurity. That's pattern recognition. And when that system says, this person will drain you, you've learned to listen. So no, you're not lonely, you're selective. And there's a word for what you're actually experiencing. Most people call it isolation, but that's not accurate. The real word is solitude. Loneliness is when you're alone and wish you weren't. Solitude is when you're alone and feel at peace. And those are not the same thing. You're not sitting there waiting for someone to call. You're not refreshing your phone, hoping for attention. You're sitting in your space, thinking clearly, breathing easier, feeling lighter. And to people who don't understand, it looks like you're withdrawing. But you know the truth. You're not running away from people. You're running toward peace, toward clarity, toward a version of yourself that doesn't exist in chaos. That's not isolation. That's sanctuary. So if you've been wondering if something is wrong with you, hear this clearly. There is nothing wrong with you. You're not cold. You're not heartless. You're not incapable of love. You're someone who learned the hard way that not everyone deserves access to your energy. And instead of letting that make you bitter, you made a different choice. You chose peace. You chose clarity. You chose to protect your time, your attention, your emotional space. And that's not weakness. That's one of the strongest things a person can do. And if you're wondering what comes next, it's actually simple. One of the longest studies on happiness from Harvard found something surprising. It's not about how many people you have in your life. It's about having the right ones. So if your circle is small, but it's real, you're not doing life wrong. You're doing it right. And if this felt like something you needed to hear, then maybe it was. You're not alone in this. Drop a comment. I read every one. And remember, protect your peace.